Okay, that's not... How is that? Is that right? Wow. Okay. Hello, if you're new here, I am Kate. Today on the channel, we're gonna be answering a big question. I've been really curious about this. I think it's a big motivator for why people live in their cars. It definitely was part of my motivation to do it. I've been living in my car for over 2 months. I have been really curious about what my spending footprint is, and today we will actually be doing the math. We'll be getting into everything. Did I actually save money moving into my car? How much? How much might you be able to save moving into your car? I've debated how to do this. I recognize the fact I'm a bougie girl. I can't help it. I like nice things. I like nice dinners. I care for my face with expensive products. So I'm gonna try and make this as relevant as possible to the standard user. I don't know, you could be a bougie individual, but I think of the people that would consider living in their car, I'm at the top end of how much money I will also spend on things. But hey, if you're spending more than me, please tell me in the comments because that will make me feel actually a lot better. I will be doing a comparison between 1 month when I was living in an apartment and then a month when I was living in my car. There's not any great 2 months to compare because I tend to have big expenses randomly every month. I don't want to include that because I just don't think it will be very reflective. There's also been some setup costs associated with moving into my car that I'm not going to include. Probably, ideally, I would have compared August of last year to this August because that's when I was moving into an apartment, and then we would also get the comparison of moving expenses. But unfortunately, I didn't want to go tracking down this information, so I will just be doing one of the more recent months, so June, and then comparing it to August when I was fully living in my car. I do travel a lot, and I didn't want that to be included either, although it probably does underestimate some of my food expenses. Also, my move into my car coincided with a trip across the United States. If you're moving into your car and staying local, you would probably have a much more affordable time than I had. My hypothesis, my expenses will basically be the same, but I will have saved the rent money. Seeing how things were going, I don't feel like I was saving money except for paying rent. That's what I'm hoping to see. I have my doubts. I'm gonna do a quick sum, see where we're at, but then we'll also break things down into various categories. I'm actually so excited for this moment because I've just spent like hours categorizing all of these expenses, and I do not love thinking about my finances, planning my finances. That is a growth edge. I would love for us to grow in that together, and maybe we can talk more about that another time. Time for the big reveal. What's the fastest way? So, okay, about to... Oh my god. Oh wow. Okay, that's not... Yeah, that was not the desired result. That is brutal. How is that? Is that right? Did I just like miss something major? Wow. Oh. Okay, that's why. I had a big auto repair. It just happened to happen in August, so we're just gonna remove that. Okay. Still. Fuck. Wow. Okay. Well, now we know that. Now we can like plan, I guess. All right, let's break this down a little bit. The categories we're gonna start looking at are transportation. This includes gas, maintenance and repairs, public transit, taxis and ride shares, and I'm not gonna do flights. Food, I'll also break it down into fast food / cafes, grocery, and restaurants. Housing, that includes rent, utility, laundry. That's the only one that could become tricky with living in my car. I also have home goods, consumables, anything from toilet paper, toothbrush, whatever. Home goods, non-consumables, any sort of furniture, decor. I'm a little decor sloot back when I was living in a house. And then other personal items. Gear, cosmetics, clothes, technology, nails, other spiritual gear. Subscriptions, and then entertainment. My hypothesis would be transportation is gonna go up because I'm driving all the fucking time. Food is gonna go up. I'm eating out more, and I can't buy anything in bulk. I can't cook. Subscriptions, those should stabilize. Housing, that should go down. Let's get into it. Let's get into what actually occurred. We'll do the least brutal to the most brutal categories. This one's gonna feel good. This one's gonna feel really really good. Home, when I'm living in a house, apartment, I have rent, utilities. In my car, it's mostly laundry, storage. I also have mail fees now. These are all things that you might not think about as being expenses. So you're not paying nothing. You're not paying nothing for your housing. You will still have to pay something for where you're living. I spent $2,846.58 in June. And I spent $216.55 in August. So that's a huge improvement. That's fabulous. You can't shake a finger at a 92.3% decrease in costs, but it was so barely enough to offset everything else. Subscriptions, not so bad either. June, I spent $314.15. In August, I spent $212.08, 32% decrease in my subscription. So that's actually pretty good. But I actually saved because I'm not paying renter's insurance anymore. I downgraded to a cheaper Adobe plan, and then I didn't receive my hair supplements in August. So that's kind of like a one-off. I need my hair to look nice. Gym, I spent $36.75 in August and $28 in June. It's a slight 31% increase. It's really not that bad. I basically didn't use my gym membership in August. I'm not canceling it yet because I don't know, I just love to pay for things, I guess. I did some tours of facilities. That was my strategy. And then I paid for a rec center. Okay, let's get into the parts that hurt. Yeah. Okay, this is when it starts to hurt. Personal items in June. I spent $296.52. I spent $439.30 in August. A 48% increase in personal item purchases. I did have to buy some more things to adapt to the new life living in my car, like a new duffel bag, and then I don't know what I bought. Yeah, so food. In June, I spent $627.29. This is a little low. I did subtract a few of the days when I was traveling. So maybe we can say it was like $700. Maybe. In August, I spent $1,478.04. 136% increase in food. That one hurt. What really did it was cafes. I spent $623.19 at cafes versus $178.91 in June. If I wanted to have Wi-Fi or really a practical place to work, I tended to go to cafes. That just put me in the devil's crosshairs. I'm not the person. I can't just go to the cafe and get sparkling water. Every once in a while I can, but usually it's like, well, I have to get a treat and a drink, and it's got to be a fancy drink, and then things just, they get out of hand quickly. That's actually really interesting. It doesn't seem to matter too much that I didn't have refrigeration or I couldn't store food or cook food. The leftovers are kind of over, even though sometimes I did just eat things that had been sitting in my car. My grocery in August was $401.09, and then in June it was $381.66. So spending about the same amount of money at the grocery store, but I guess I was preparing fewer meals, right? From that restaurants, it was $293.76 versus $66, like 4 more meals. Let's see, what's the next one that's gonna hurt? Transportation, also brutal. In June, I spent $156.55. Basically, one visit to the gas station, one oil change, and some parking. Versus in August, when I spent $880.38. So that's 462% increase in transportation costs. That was a ton of gas. I spent $693.54 in gas alone. I also had to get an additional oil change. I spent more money on parking. I have this mysterious rideshare. I don't know how I spent money on a cab in August because I was always in my car, but apparently I did, and that's sad too. And then we also have a fun $70 to $5 fee to add to that because apparently I accidentally went on a toll road that I couldn't pay for. In the grand scheme of things, the savings would be greater if the idea was that I was also on a road trip while I had an apartment. So there's a trade-off there that's not really being captured, but yeah, I spent a lot a lot of money on gas. I also had to get an additional oil change. Entertainment, I don't do very much. I really don't do very much in general. In June, it's $5.77, and that was cover at a bar in Costa Rica. That's also like a blip, an anomaly in my life. I spent $161.56 in August, 27% increase in entertainment costs. We're partying over here, but I really just wasn't spending that much money. That was my national parks pass and some reservations and campgrounds. Okay, so the final tally is $4,274.86 in June and $3,424.66 in August. That is a savings of $850.20. So hey. But considering the fact that my rent used to be basically $2,500 a month. That means that easily, I could have had the same savings if I had just found a place to live that was $1,700 a month. And for sure, I would have spent less money on food. How is that true? Wow, I was very frugal in June. Good job, Kate. If the ultimate goal is to save money, there are other ways of doing that. I already shared with you that emotionally, physically, spiritually, it's not really there for me. And now I know financially it doesn't even make that much sense, at least the way that I was living. So I feel quite confident in my decision to change direction. It was fully worth the experience of doing it. I am so grateful to have spent that time in my own energy with that level of freedom and exploration, because it has set me up for my next steps. I had no idea where I wanted to live, what I wanted to do, and I feel way more grounded and centered in that because of doing this. Also, life is so freaking expensive in the US right now. If you care at all about how your body feels and looks, you're fucked. No matter what, I'm just like, inflation is absurd. Like, if I had done this years ago, it would not cost nearly as much as it does, but it costs quite a bit. I really can't justify living in this country if that's any indication of what I'm doing now. You might have noticed I'm not currently in my car. We'll get into that another time. Trust me, I'm still getting out there, but in a different way. Hopefully I'll be sharing more about what the real next steps are with you soon. To say that there are any, because I think I know, and then 2 days later it's completely changed. Wherever you are, I hope you have a beautiful, magical week in alignment with a financial future that makes sense for you.